talk every Saturday here on the podcast about everything mortgages. We talk just everything mortgage. So if you've got a question, be sure to email me at rhonda.holt@thrivemortgage.com. And we'll share that question on the air and you'll get a gift. But today, our topic is down payment assistance programs, because I will tell you there's so many people out there that need down payment assistance to buy a house, especially first-time home buyers, and even not first-time home buyers, but especially first-time home buyers. So the thing about with the down payment assistance, we offer one program that no other lender offers that I am aware of, and we offer one that some lenders offer here in Central Virginia. We're going to talk about those two programs and how they work. So the first program that we're going to talk about is the Virginia Housing Program, and they did change that name over to be called Virginia Housing from VHDA. So that you probably remember it, Mary, like VHDA, HUD. You are HUD, VHDA. But really, it's not a government program. It's state, but it's only particular to this state. But it's not owned by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or anything like that. It's its own entity. In other states in the U.S., they have their own, state bond program. So this is what that is, Virginia Housing. You do, with Virginia Housing, have to be a first-time home buyer. So if you have not owned a home in the last 3 years, now you could have owned a home 4 years ago and you haven't owned since, that's okay. That's considered a first-time home buyer. And there are some other avenues around the Virginia Housing where, let's say you are buying a home that is in an economic underdeveloped or economic area for development, and we have a map that we can go to determine if that home is in that. And if you're not a first-time home buyer, you would be able to possibly buy that home under Virginia Housing. Now, Virginia Housing does have income limitations. And we've talked about on the program from time to time, there are other programs that have that. So along with first-time home buyer, the income limitations for our area for standard, that means 2 or fewer people in a household, is $95,000. But I would say that's pretty good, because most people starting out in our average income, and I haven't looked that up as far as what our average income is here in Central Virginia. I need to look at that and share with that next time, but that's a pretty good income. And I would say that 3 or more people are living in the household, and that would be like you and your husband and 2 kids. That would be 3 or more. You can go up to $110,000.
And is this one of the ones that counts everybody's income?
Yes and no. So if, let's say it's you and your husband and 2 kids, and the maximum is 110 for a standard Virginia Housing program that we're looking at. If wife is not on the title or the loan, then we don't have to count her income. That's good. Yeah. Right. So there's a way around that income limitation. So if now they do have a grant program. Now I love the grant program because I wanted to tell you about the grant. The grant program, there's 2 versions. There's an FHA version, and then there's a unconventional version. But the FHA is what I want to focus on. So let's just say that you're buying a home, and I'm going to quiz Mary. Mary, if you get it wrong, that's okay. I know you got a lot going on. But do you know how much you have to put down for an FHA loan?
3%.
Close. 3.5%.
3.5%.
Yes.
I had some help.
Yes, right. 3.5%. Yes. So when you're looking at a Virginia Housing program and it's 3.5% down, Virginia Housing will grant you the 3.5%, so you don't have to physically put it down. But those income limitations are stricter, and they do count all household income. So if you're having you and your husband and 2 kids, and you're the only one on the loan, but your husband works, they're going to count his income. So the limitation for that, for 3 or more in the household, is $88,000 income limit. That's household.
I looked up the median household income in Lynchburg, $52,574.
What?
That's what
Okay.
that's just a quick search.
Yeah, that's
So,
good.
yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
So that you would fall under that
Mhm.
usually. That's the average. So you would fall under that. So that's a good thing. So you are listening to Rhonda Holt with Thrive Mortgage, and we're talking today about down payment assistance programs for first-time homebuyers and non-first-time homebuyers. So we've been talking about the Virginia Housing Program, and we're talking about a grant where they look at all household income, and the non-grant where they don't look at all household income. So those limitations are higher. So with the grant, the way it actually works is, getting down to detail, they're going to grant you 2.5% of that 3.5%. They want you to have, like on an FHA loan, they want you to have 1% into it. They want you to have some skin in the game, so to say. But you're gonna have skin in the game, because we've talked about this before, because you're going to be paying for a home inspection, probably, $400 maybe, $425. You're going to be paying for an appraisal, which is going to run you $650. So you're going to probably have 1% into the game, depending on the sales price, 1% of the sales price. So that's kind of how it works. And we're going to ask for the normal documentation as we would for an FHA loan. They're going to underwrite it just like that. The minimum credit score that you can do on Virginia Housing is down to a 620. That's the minimum. They will not go under that. And they do have some other limitations as far as acreage. Typically, they won't go over 10 acres of land. 5 is the maximum. They'll go over 5 with exceptions. We'll have to get an exception through them. But I would say that's a great program. The interest rates are a little bit higher than your normal FHA rates. Closing costs may be a little bit higher as well, but it's a great program for a first-time home buyer as long as your credit score is 620 or above. So moving on to the next one. If you're not a first-time home buyer, we have another program that's in-house with Thrive Mortgage. And this particular down payment assistance program, you don't have to be a first-time home buyer, but this program goes down to a 600 credit score. I like this program, and guess what? You don't need any income limit. There are not any income limitations. So there you go. So you can qualify for this program down to a 600 with no income limitations.
Wow.
Yeah. So
is there a catch?
Right. Is there a catch? Well, you say, why would I do the Virginia Housing? Some people like the Virginia Housing, and I think it's a great program. They have a great education class that you do have to take with this program. It's a free education, home buyers education class that's required, and a lot of people like that. I see great things coming from Virginia Housing, so we'll compare the two and see what works better for you. But if you do have a credit score that's a little bit less than the 620, we definitely need to follow that. And if you got income limitations, we got to move into this program, obviously. But with this other down payment assistance program, they have a couple versions of this program. They do have a grant program, and the way the grant works is they'll grant you the 3.5% down payment, like on an FHA we just talked about, and we'll set it up. We've got one situation where we'll set it up. It's 0% interest rate for 3 years is how it works. As long as you make your main mortgage payment on that loan always on time and you never are late, then in 3 years, that little 3.5% grant is gone. They forgive it. It goes away. So you're left and you have some equity in your home, and it's a pretty good deal.
Can't beat that.
No.
It's great.
Okay, it's a sweet deal. So I would say this is an awesome program. You can buy, just like the Virginia Housing, you can buy in any area that you want to buy. You can buy a manufactured home, just like Virginia Housing. You can buy the manufactured homes with this, double wides, as long as it's on a permanent foundation and not older than 1976. And I do like this other bond program. The interest rates typically are a little higher, and the closing costs can be slightly higher than your Virginia Housing. So when I tell my real estate partners, when we are looking at this particular program, if a client needs down payment assistance, You know, we're going to have, if we need closing costs, if we need the seller to pay the closing cost in those situations, let me calculate those to the T, because I don't want a situation where the buyer doesn't have enough. We need to ask for enough in closing costs to have the seller pay those in those certain situations. And they can be higher than normal closing costs like FHA, so don't be alarmed. But yeah, I think it's an awesome program. So I would say that we look at those folks. We just, one of the first questions I ask is, do you have a down payment? Or can you get a gift from a relative, family member, domestic partner? No, I can't. Well, then we look at one of these down payment assistance programs to be able to help you get into a house, whether you're a first-time home buyer or not a first-time home buyer. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I have a special guest with me in the studio I'm so excited about, Patricia Lightner from Lynchburg's Finest Realtor, and she's going to be talking about the market and give us an update on what things are looking like. See you in a moment. Welcome back in. I'm Rhonda Holt, the Loan Maven with Thrive Mortgage, and happy Saturday to you. And I have got a beautiful special lady with me today, and Mary White, of course, she's always beautiful and she's with me always. Patricia Lightner. Hi, Patricia.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing great. I am so glad to have you on the show today. And I will tell you, Patricia is one of the finest real estate agents around. She works for Lynchburg's Finest Real Estate. She's been doing real estate now for over 7 years. So, Patricia, tell us a little bit about you and what areas you cover.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And so I not only work the Lynchburg area, I have sold houses, Madison Heights up towards Amherst.
Yeah.
Down Smith Mountain Lake, Rocky Mount,
long way.
Benton, Roanoke.
Whoa.
So, and even Bedford. So, yeah, so I'm kind of all over, and I like that. I know a lot of people in the Roanoke area, so I don't mind traveling.
That's good. So, do you work weekends?
Oh, of course. Holidays, weekends, you name it.
Right. So that's a question I get a lot. So sometime like a customer called me the other night at 7:30. He said, I didn't expect you to answer the phone. I said, yeah, I do. And on the weekends too, they don't expect, and some agents may not work on the weekends,
Yeah.
But yeah, we got to work weekends because, we got to be there when people want to look at a house.
Exactly. And the way the market's been the last couple of years, it's if a house goes on the market, you can't say, let's go show it tomorrow. It's like, if they want to see it, you better go today.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So what are you seeing in the market right now as far as real estate about, are you seeing a lot of homes or what are you seeing?
Well, I think the market's changed once again. It is still a seller's market because of the inventory. And I feel like the first quarter of this year, 2023, the inventory in housing has been lower than it was last year. And last year we had low inventory. I think what has changed in the market is when the interest rates went up, buyers are now, even if it's a multiple offer situation, that buyers are asking for home inspections, maybe possibly if it's a well flow inspection, that type of thing, but they're still asking for the inspections. They want to see, and possibly for repairs to be done. And buyers are going to be a little bit more pickier because with the price of housing not really dropping, then they are wanting, with the high interest rates now, higher, I don't think they're high, but the higher interest rates from what we were spoiled at, upper twos, lower threes, that they want to have the house in tip-top shape.
Yeah. I get it. And I see that on the contracts that I'm getting. I see that repairs, they may need repairs, and sometimes they'll ask for closing costs in lieu of repairs.
Yes.
Whatever. So definitely, you said definitely a seller's market. And are you finding that you said the buyers may have slowed down a little bit, or do you see just as many buyers?
Well, it depends. I've had, 3-4 sets of first-time home buyers I was working with last fall, and they've kind of put it on hold because as the interest rates have risen, and they keep fluctuating. They go up, they come back down, they go up, come back down. But when they hit around 7%, they're just like, for what they can afford, if they're qualified to buy a $250,000 house and the interest rate's high, their payment knocks them a little uncomfortable, makes them a little less comfortable with their payment because, gas, everything's up.
Everything's up, unfortunately. But you're right, interest rates are not that high. I mean, the interest rate average is still, it's the last I looked, it's between 6.875 and 7.125, somewhere in there. And of course, it can vary depending on your credit score and your situation, loan product, all of that, because we just talked about that. But I think that something you touched on, I think that it seems that you can win bids on a low inventory in a low inventory market, the less they ask for.
Yes.
Would you say?
Yes.
So the less clients ask for, maybe win a bid. You might win a bid.
Yes, definitely, most definitely.
So if it's a situation where, let's say, they need closing cost and they only have X amount of money, then maybe we go with a non-down payment assistance, try to get the rate as low as possible, put the down payment and then ask for the closing, or vice versa. Maybe you don't ask for the closing cost and go with one of these down payment assistance programs.
Correct.
And use that money to put toward closing costs. See, we have to be real creative when it comes to that.
Yes, definitely.
And I know as realtor partners, it is our job to work with our first-time home buyers or other clients to see what is the best solution for them. I'll kind of call you and I'll kind of get a indication. Okay, so tell me a little bit about these folks. I've talked to these clients. Tell me what you're seeing, where areas what they are interested in, what have you been, talking to them about, whatever. And maybe we can come up with a solution, especially when they find the house they want to write an offer on. Maybe we find a solution that would work, that everybody would be happy.
Exactly, because each situation is totally different.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you see more houses coming on the market as the year progresses, or is it typically where spring is?
Well, this is our spring market. I mean, it's
here.
Yeah, I mean, it's here. It's starting, and so it's been well. Usually, spring market can start depending on the weather. It can start end of February, somewhere into March. So we're at the end of March. So yes, we're in the spring market. But the other day, I think it was Monday, there was only like 8 new listings in the Lynchburgs, when I checked it. So yeah.
That's overall.
That brand new for that day.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, you think.
So how many typical, like normal in a good market? 15, 20, 30?
Yeah, you might have more than that.
Wow.
So yeah, but we just have such a high demand for housing. From what I understand, there's shortages in rentals.
There are.
But there again, like you touched on earlier, why pay $1,200 in rent and throw $43,000 out the window in 3 years, as opposed to put that value towards some equity and build equity in your house?
That's right. So you're right. You just touched on it. I think that it's most important to know, even though rates might be a little up, the thing you've got to remember, if you're renting, you are throwing that money away. You are not creating your own real estate investment by owning your own house. So I would say that it's important to know you can decorate the house the way you want to. You can do what you want to with that house. It's yours. And you don't have a landlord telling you what to do. So I think I would encourage listeners out there, if you have someone that is renting or know of someone, then please reach out, because this would be a perfect opportunity to see if you qualified. If you do not qualify, we can get you to the level that you can qualify for something, and you won't rent anymore. You won't pay away. And as you mentioned, rents are going up.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Do you see more houses coming up in certain areas? Or have you noticed any that, say, Alta Vista or Amherst?
Well, the Madison Heights, the Alta Vista, towards Concord, Appomattox. Now, Smith Mountain Lake, it's always a hot commodity come summertime. So there's going to be houses popping up down there and people building and stuff down there.
Yeah.
But yes, in those areas, there's certain areas like Bedford itself, in the town of Bedford, has been slower.
Okay.
Now, houses will come, on the market, but they have not been as much. I think people, I don't know if people are afraid to move because for example, if they got in 5 years ago or something and they're at 3 or 4% interest rate, they're not going to want to move unless they absolutely have to go to a 6+ or 7% interest rate.
Right. I get it.
So some of these areas, there are just not as many houses popping on the market. It's just what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah. So if a listener out there was thinking about, hey, I would like to see what my house is worth. I'm thinking about listing it. I would like to sell it. We're thinking about upsizing, downsizing, or hey, I'm renting. I really want to look at owning my own home. Of course, we need to get pre-approved first, but how would they get in touch with you, Patricia, with a question like that?
Okay, the easiest way would be to either call or text, and this number, you can call me or text me, and the number's 434-665-2206, and I'll be glad to give them a comparative market analysis on their home, or talk to them and send them over to you, Ron, to get pre-qualified.
Awesome. Now, are you when you do these market analysis to list people's homes, when you come in and give them an analysis of what you think, does there any charge to do that?
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
Okay.
That's just part of the service that I do for them, and I'll be glad to educate the client on the process of owning a home and the process we go through, be able to guide them through their inspections and get them to the closing table.
Yeah, and I think that's so important. I never ever, when I hear somebody, I'm buying a for sale by owner, I was like, oh no. You think you're saving money, or you're going to try to sell your house yourself? No, please. I cannot stress enough to call someone like Patricia, because you can, in this market, you've got to be able to negotiate contracts, advertise. It's a lot of expense. It's a lot of things you need to know.
Well, there's a lot, because the laws in real estate have changed the last couple of years on like septic systems.
Yeah.
And if somebody has gone from county water and wants to buy a house, say on 5-6 acres out, that's out a little bit further, and it's on a well and septic. Well, if you're buying a for sale by owner and you don't know the well and septic, well, good luck.
You know all the the stuff that you need to know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, so I think that it's important to let buyers know that, and they can call you directly, and you can walk them through the process. I like that about you. But yeah, we want to help first-time home buyers, and we want to help other folks get into new homes.
Sounds great. I'm willing to help them. That was easier than I thought.
Okay, Patricia.
Yes.
Talk about your open house, or it's not an open house, but you have a great listing for sale, and I want to talk about that.
I do. It's on Route 24. It's between the Dickerson Mill and Joppa Mill roads it's Stewartsville Roads, what's called, but it's Route 24. And it's a single family home. It sits up on a little, not much of a hill, but it's off the road. It's got a paved driveway. It's great. It's listed at $194,500.
Oh, that's a great price.
The address is 6601 Stewartsville Road, and that is considered Moneta, Virginia.
Oh wow, that's a great area too.
Oh, it's perfect. It's right before you get, like, if you're leaving Vinton's, right before you hit Stanton River High School.
And how would they give them that phone number again?
It's 434-665-2206. Give me a call.
Awesome. Well, that sounds like a great listing, and I would say that we've hopefully given you a lot of great advice today. And if you're thinking about moving into a new home, we have the solution for you with down payment assistance. And again, if you would like to reach me, you can call me directly to get pre-approved to look at a home at 434-221-6361. You can also reach out to me by email at rhonda.holt@thrivemortgage.com. I'm at theloanmaven.com, and be sure to subscribe and like our YouTube videos that we post. The channel is called The Loan Maven, and we look forward to talking with you next week, where we'll talk about more of all things mortgage. Hope you have a great weekend.